I have like a whole list of Jason questions. So thanks. We're gonna have like a very short amount of time, but I know you're a fast talker, so we'll be good. Okay, so Jason, will you let everybody know what you do with Keller Williams and just a little bit of background on yourself, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah, I think we're also trying to figure that out. Probably like like all of us. I'm a real estate agent, just like you guys. I've been with KW 21 years. I'm the what are they? Head of industry, but we just made that up. Here's what it really means. The social media companies and technology companies define industry as the two highly considered consumer purchases, automobiles and real estate, and we don't sell cars here yet. And so I'm here to help everybody understand in this building more about residential real estate, what it's actually like to be a real estate agent, the challenges that the consumer has, what's happening in the technologies around it, because we have like brilliant people here. But the truth is, unless you've like shown homes on a Sunday morning or sat in somebody's kitchen on like a Wednesday night or talked somebody through an inspection when they're like, but the tile's cracked. Like until you've done those things, it's hard to understand. And so I try to bring that experience here and share it with as many people as I can.
I love it. You're so awesome at what you do. I don't know how much we can talk about some of the things I want to talk about. So if we can't, then just tell me no. But what I wanted everyone to hear from you today is I had an interesting conversation 2 weeks ago with an independent brokerage, and they did not know what was happening in our industry. They didn't know that Zillow owned Showing Time now. They didn't know that things were quickly changing the way that they are. And I have been reading this book, Rethinking Competitive Advantage, New Rules for a Digital Age, which, have you read this? It's really good.
I have, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like, it's the digital age for like dummies. Like it dumbs it down and it's so good. Yet I feel like that a lot of people don't understand necessarily what's happening in our industry. And really they're not changing with the digital age. And I think a lot of it is because we're so stuck in our business right now because of, escalation clauses and low inventory and all these crazy things. So talk to us a little bit just about how the industry is changing, because I feel like we've been talking about this for the last 3 years, but a lot of other agents aren't still.
Yeah, well, instead of pinpointing any one change, I want to give you just a different way to think about it. It used to be that people would compare the last time they bought a house with this time, or the last time they sold a house with this time. That's what's changing. That's no longer the case. They're comparing what they're doing today to whatever the last experience that they had that they liked was, regardless of the scope or scale of that experience. I'll give you an example. If I go and I order a pizza right now from Domino's and I get the pizza tracker and I know that when it's in quality control and I know when it's left the store and I know when it's going to get there, and I completely can understand and track my food from the minute I order it to 30 minutes later, which, by the way, it then gets delivered at a top temperature of 160 degrees. That's their goal. If you were to ask Domino's what matters, they would say 30 minutes or less, everyone knows where their food is, pizza gets delivered at 160 degrees. The law says, by the way, it has to be delivered at 150 degrees, but they know people like 160. I bet you didn't even know there was a pizza law. Not important. But what is important is then if I go the next day to buy a house and I don't know when I'm having a key exchange, I don't really know what time the closing is going to be. I don't know until 3 minutes before how much money I'm supposed to bring. I don't know how to use the home warranty 90 days later. I don't even know if we're going to get approved for a showing until I think like a raven flies in and then I read the thing and I'm like, oh my gosh, showing's approved. Like if it's so much easier to order a pizza than it is to buy a house, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. That's the difference. If that resonates with you, then think about this. All of the moments that we have right now in technology are based on this idea of the moments that matter, meaning that technology companies wake up every day and they say, well, list all of the pivotal moments in whatever we're trying to do, and then let's make those experiences better. But there's a new idea that's emerging called the moments that don't matter, which are almost more important. The companies that create an experience around a moment that you didn't know matters are the ones that grow the fastest. I'll give you an example. None of us, when you used to order something online, from the minute you swiped your credit card to the minute that someone threw it at your doorstep from the end of your driveway, none of those moments mattered. Amazon makes them matter. You know how they did it? They tell you exactly where your package is. They tell you that it's 10 houses away. They send you a picture of it when it gets thrown at your front door. So all those moments that didn't matter now suddenly do, which puts distance in between them and everybody else that you would order from. How about with pizza? We just did the example. The supermajority of companies, from the minute you call and make your order or do it online to when it gets delivered, there's no experience. Domino's made those moments that didn't matter matter. How about Uber? None of you want an Acura following you around 24 hours a day. What you want is an Acura to be there when you want it to be there. And they made the moment in between calling for a cab, which is all that is, to the cab arriving by showing you a map of where the person is and then how many minutes, and then showing you how many stars and letting you say, please, whatever you do, don't talk to me. Or I like the car, cool. All of those little things that are there, now all of that matters. Like, go wave a cab down in Manhattan right now and then get in and say, you probably already know this about me, but I don't like anyone talking to me and I want it to be 63 degrees in here. They're like, what? Because they really don't know. What are all the moments that matter in your business right now? What are all the moments that don't matter in your business right now? And you look up and say, that's a little esoteric. I don't know that I need to ask that question because the average days on market is 3 minutes. I'm good. At your own peril, you're good. Just understand that the people that would love nothing more than to move you away from the center of the transaction, standing side by side with the consumer, they use every single minute of every single day and every single dollar of somebody else's money that they've raised based on a stupid valuation that makes no sense in the real world, answering those questions. That's where the industry is.
Yeah, love that. Okay. That actually walks me right into one of my questions, which was, in this book, one of the things that it says is one of the new rules for competition is a personalized consumer experience is key for exponential growth, period. They have to have a personalized consumer experience. I feel like we've been talking about experience over and over and over. How can the agents that are watching this and the thousands that will watch the recording of it, how can they understand? We get pretty high hits on our YouTube around here.
Ooh, now I'm nervous. Okay. It's the same 3 buckets we talked about at Family Reunion. They're not changing. And you're going to get so bored. But here's the thing. You ever notice that once they line train tracks across the world, the trains always end up in the same cities? It's so weird. But keep in mind, once the tracks are laid, everyone's going there. The only thing that changes is the type of vehicle heading above the track. So you can buy the $3 ticket and it takes you 14 days, or you can buy the Acela ticket and you can get there in 45 minutes. You can have a sleeper cart, or you can have a coach seat, or you can be in the dining cart. Friends, the tracks are already laid. All you're asking is, what do I want to build to go on top of it? And it's 3 things. Unique insights. Meaning, what's the unique insight? What's the real thing that's unique to that consumer that you can provide? The second one is unique access. What's the unique access that being in your data bank gives them? And then unique service. What are the services that you're providing people that's unique? And there's 2 worlds, in transaction and out of transaction. Yeah. It's the only 2 worlds that exist in our industry. And here's the thing you should do. Start with in transaction and just write unique insights, by the way. In transaction, that's when you run comps on a house they want to buy. It's unique insight because they care about the value of that house. It's when you do a CMA for someone who wants to sell. It's unique because it's their home. Your home is worth blank dollars. It's the inspection report. That's unique because they care about that house. They're the only people on the planet that care about that inspection report that day. Those are unique insights in transaction. Unique access in transaction is so easy. It's every time you use a key to open up a door as a buyer's agent. It's unique because without you, they can't get in. That's unique access. You're literally accessing. They need you there. Then services, unique service. Maybe you're using Keller Mortgage. Maybe the unique service is just you. Maybe you're saying the best part of doing business with me is that I answer the phone 24 hours a day and I have sand in my laptop to prove it because realtors actually think that's a mark of pride. I'm all good with it. That might be your unique service. But now try to make a list of all of the unique insights, access, and service outside of the transaction. And what you realize is you're providing very, very little to none. Telling somebody this is what's going on in the state is not unique. Unique means personal to them. And this is the challenge that we have. And there's some really cool examples of this, like unique access. If you're doing client events right now, I don't care if
you just talked about that. We just interviewed Danny Barron, who, Jason, you need to know, he just had over 1,000 people show up to his last client event. He's built his business in Cincinnati on client events. He hosted a Reds game and he had over 1,000 people show up.
I think that's great. I love it. Don't sleep on the digital one though. I just did a one where we got, because you can go to Google and Google speakers bureaus virtual. Speakers bureaus are places that go and they try to find celebrities all the way from A list to F list. That's where I am, HGTV, but that actually want to perform. And so I'm not going to tell you which speakers bureau I got them from, but I just want you to know for $5,000, I got Sir Mix-a-Lot, who did a 3-set a cappella version of Baby Got Back. And I mean to tell you, it was a can't miss, because right now you're kind of laughing, but my data bank was like, are you kidding me? Sir Mix-a-Lot? We did it via Zoom. And for $5,000 or $10,000, because it's via Zoom and the celebrity can sit in their house, they're more than willing to come do a half hour for you. We had one of the lead singers from Chicago do a set for only our customers. And I got to tell you, like, it was awesome. And do it during the day while they're at work. Because here's what they do. Do it during lunch at work. They bomb in for a quick half-hour Zoom thing, and they end up calling all of their coworkers, and they're like, people were taking pictures of themselves like in front of their screen so they could be with Sir Mix-a-Lot, who looks great, by the way. But that's unique access. Because I tell you what, Jeff might not be providing Sir Mix-a-Lot. Name one other realtor that is. That's unique. And it's scalable. And if that doesn't sound doable for you because of the money, get together in a group of 4 or 5 other people, all invite your data banks and have a concert. Like, it's more reachable and doable now than ever before. So I love the in-person client events, but I think you're crazy if you're not having 2 to 3 virtual client events a year where you're bringing amazing speakers in that you otherwise could never have gotten before.
Yeah.
And then you have services. Like, what are the services you're providing outside of the transaction? I don't know the answer, but if you're not providing window cleaning twice a year to your customers, I think you're crazy. When was the last time any of you had the windows in your second floor cleaned? I get it. The only time you do it is when you're selling. I just had it done in my house and the whole house looks different. I can't imagine the amount of wretchedness that was on my windows that I never would have realized unless it had been clean. Guys, go get a window person and hire them for 3 weeks and send them to every one of your customers for free. Mm-hmm. And just watch them light up, or go buy a landscaping company, which isn't nearly as expensive as you think. And then call your people and say, hey, Mandy, it's Jason Abrams calling. I miss you, by the way. You're a client of mine. Here's the thing. I sold you the house, but I kind of have broadened the way I think about the world. It's not just my job to sell beautiful homes. It's to help you actually live beautifully once you're in them. So we bought a landscape company, and I'd love to send them over, and for free, they want to plant flowers for you. And if you like it, then every 2 weeks, I want to send them over to mow your lawn for free from now on. The only thing that I ask is I get to put up a little yard sign that says, this home meticulously maintained for free by the Abrams real estate team, and then my phone number. Is that okay? And people are like, of course that's okay. You know how many folks are going to call you? I'm watching this happen in real time. And they say, well, I want my home taken care of for free. And then you say, fantastic. Here's the thing. People that buy and sell with us, we do this for them. So when are you thinking about selling next? And it is, I love my data bank and it's lead generation all wrapped in one. And so I know you asked a tech question, Dana, but it's not a tech answer. It's unique insight, unique access, unique service. And if you're not providing anything unique in all 3 of those categories, in transaction and out, you're going to have a problem as the world turns.
Okay, I might have missed it and you went really fast, but could you give us an example of unique insights for out of the transaction?
Yeah, I think unique insights are anything about their house. You know how crazy it is to put somebody, buyer or seller, through an inspection of a house and then get no value out of it moving forward? I don't understand that. Like, why aren't you writing down the age of the furnace? And why aren't you changing the filters the day they buy the house and then calling them once a year and saying, hey, it's time for you to change your filter. Do you want me to send a person over? Or how about what their home is worth? 63% of Americans say they don't know the value of their house. Directionally, they know more. It went up, but they don't actually know the number. You want to give the best unique insight outside of transaction? It's, hey, Scott, this is what your home is worth. This is what it would cost to sell it. And this is the amount of money you'd walk away with once you did. If all you did was wake up and do that for the next 30 to 60 days, you will be way ahead of the game. And do you know why? Because when the market starts to slow down and change, which it will, the person that actually knows how much money they could have made is the one that starts thinking this might be the moment for me. The educated seller of today becomes the actual seller of tomorrow. Think of it like this. You go to Vegas. A friend of mine told me how this feels. And you're sitting at a table and you have $4,000 in chips in front of you because you're crushing it. And you know that there's a plus 17 count on the shoe in front of you. A friend of mine told me about that too. Anyway, you lose the next hand. But you know what happens? You actually say, I'm down to 3,500 because you're at table max now. You're rolling. The only reason you know you're down to 3,500 is because you knew you were at 4,000 because you counted them prior to that hand, which means you start having thoughts like, should I get up and go? Oh my gosh, if I lose 7 more of these, I'm going to be at 0. That's how Vegas works. A friend, Brett Tanner, told me that. And so because of that, the seller is the same way. You think it's any different? If you don't set the stakes, they have no idea what they're losing. And because they have no idea what they're losing, they have no frame of reference. It's the same idea when you go to a doctor for the first time in 20 years and they give you a baseline of your heart rate. They only do that so that they can actually convince you you're having a heart attack. It's not because they need to know your base that day. They're saying, look, 3 years from now, I got to be able to tell you how sick you are from what you eat. In order to do that, I needed a baseline. It's the same thing, you guys.
Jason, there are agents that I talk to on a regular basis that do not believe that our industry could be, vulnerable. And when we talk about, Blockbuster or taxi cab drivers or all of those things, what do you tell agents when you talk to them and they ask you about that, or they think that, everything's just fine the way it is and nothing is changing?
I give 3 answers and they're kind of quick. Number 1, it really depends where you are in your life journey. Meaning, like, if you have 3 or 4 years left and you want to just ride this thing out and you're not trying to sell your business, you're trying to make a little extra money, or you have a goal that you're going to hit, I don't think you need to worry about it because I don't see the world dramatically changing over the next 24 to 36 months. Mm-hmm. I just don't. And what I don't want people to do is look up and say, oh my gosh, I should blow everything that I have up. That would be foolish. But if you have a time horizon, then yeah, I think you have to wake up and look at it. And if you really don't think that your industry can be disrupted, I'd love to introduce you to some of the richest travel agents that I know from the 90s.
Yeah.
I actually was lucky enough to interview these folks, and they were, I'm telling y'all, they were captains and captains of industry. And this was in the 90s, and they were running these giant businesses. And in 2004, they were all out of business. And there's a really cool special that we're making right now. I don't know if you guys know, but Gary funds documentary projects that he likes. And so there's a great one that you can watch on Netflix that we made, which is really cool. Blockbuster versus Netflix. It's Blockbuster versus, it's very cool stuff. Anyway, we're interviewing travel agents now to understand that industry because you can't imagine how sure they were that they weren't going to go out of business. And then you can't imagine what it was like looking back. And the quote that I got from one of them, never forget, said, the only thing I can't buy is the time that I misspent. And I'm never going to forget that because he could have made any of the changes that he needed to. And the only time you can't buy is the time you misspent. That's what it is.
Love that. Yeah. Okay. What was the documentary, Jason? Do you know? Sorry. Did you say Blockbuster?
Hey, Trisha, find out the name from Shauna, the documentary on Netflix. I'll get it for you before the end of the call.
Thank goodness for Trisha.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. I love Trisha. Okay. So a couple of other quick, just how many more minutes do we have? Gosh, we have 7. Okay. Okay. Talk to us about just having an end-to-end platform and the importance of that.
I think that you have had an end-to-end platform since you all got into the real estate business. And there's this confusion around it. The difference is you were the platform. By the way, for your customers, you're still the platform. They just don't log into you because that would be awkward, but you're the platform. Like that's it. And that's how you should think about it. And so this idea that there's like we're all on the quest for the end-to-end platform. All we're really saying is that the real estate agent today is the end-to-end platform. And then there's 2 groups of companies. One that want to make sure that you don't have jobs anymore because they've replaced you with some technology offering. And then this other group, which is us, which is all we want to do is make you better at the things you already do. We think of you all like Tony Stark, and the end-to-end platform is literally giving you the suit. Now, granted, the suit we made you may not have been the suit you wanted, and that's on us. But we wake up every day trying to rebuild the suit so that it actually flies this time.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the companies that are the ones that, will list for 1% and or you bundle and consumers go straight with them and agents get cut out of the deal? You and I were on a mastermind looking at a website of one of them that I actually have pulled up that is interesting to me because it's a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about.
There's 2 schools of thought, and that, by the way, that one rhymes with Billow, and by the way, it's Billow 360. So I'll let you do your own research on that. Yeah. There's 2 schools of thought. The consumer wants a bundled experience. Right now, they get it when you say, "Hey, call my mortgage person." Or, hey, this is the inspector, or these are the 3 that I would use. Just understand you're providing a bundled experience right now to the customer, but you're the platform. I know I keep saying the same thing, but it's important that you understand that you're the platform. Because the power of our company isn't what we're building, it's you. But if we can build stuff that helps you do that, then we're better off. Because Billow wakes up and they say, if we remove the real estate agent, and by the way, I'm not picking on them. There's a bunch of companies that say the same thing, which is if the real estate commissions come down, then we can charge whatever we want on banking, which is what mortgage is and what insurance is and what title is and what all these things are. And we kind of wake up and ask a slightly different question, which is if everybody is bundling and we're in business with real estate agents, can we use our bundles to protect real estate agents, the level of service they provide, and the commissions that they charge? Other companies wake up and say, can we use those commission dollars to then offset and build the other sides of our company? So picture it like Lady and the Tramp. It's puppies eating the same piece of pasta, except when we get to the middle, we're not planning on kissing. We're all after the same thing. It's just a question of who you want to defend. You either want to defend Wall Street or you want to defend realtors.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to the agents who are having clients say, I love you, you've been my realtor for many years, but it's all about the money and I'm going to list with Bluefin for 1%?
I think that you need to look up in that moment and then ask yourself, how do I value this consumer? And do I think this is a moment in time? And by the way, if they love you, but it's all about the money, then they don't love you. Let's get really clear on it. And you can't absolve yourself from that responsibility. The question should be, what should the experience have been in between the last time that I did business with this person and now, such that my commission would not have been the topic of conversation? And if you were mowing their lawn twice a week up to that point, I bet you it wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, it's also a moment in time. Just remember, like everybody discounts the salesperson in a market like this, but they'll all be back. And it's also important to remember that we represent every single model in the industry. So when we say, how do you think of discounters? Let's just be really clear. We have 191,000 agents, of which a group of them decide to discount their commissions. And so I'm not bashing that business model. Decide on the business model that you're going to run based on the assets that you have, and then go bludgeon your competitors with it.
Yeah.
My problem is I think real estate agents very rarely ask themselves, what are the assets that I have? And so you look up and you try to make a business model that doesn't actually play into your strengths. It's akin to saying, well, I'm going to grow my business by prospecting, and then waking up every day and hating prospecting. I don't understand that. I think that's dumb. That there's like this idea that we should all wake up and work really hard to do things that we don't like every day is stupid. I think there's an actual place for that. It's called prison, and they'll make you do things you don't like all day. And so how do we wake up and love the things that we're doing? That would be a business. And I say it all the time. If you love golfing and you put on white pants and an orange belt and you look good, then you should be golfing 3 or 4 days a week. Do it with 3 strangers each time you golf and love your life and make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a great way. Susan, I saw Susan's question. It seems like owning a landscaping company would be a negative return. I think the point you were trying to get across from that is how can you be unique? What do you need to go out and do to be unique for somebody?
By the way, if I owned a landscaping company, I would be planning on it having absolutely no return. My focusing question would be, how many more deals am I doing out of my sphere of influence? How many more leads am I getting from people calling and asking about the sign? Be careful how you make your money, and be careful what you deem an expense and what you deem an investment. A unique service that keeps your consumer closer to you, either emotionally or in physical proximity, is an investment. A new Porsche is an expense. We should understand that difference really well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay, 1 minute, last question. You said for agents, 3 to 4 years left, not much change. For those that plan for the long haul, what changes will they need to be prepared for?
I think that you'll have to have a digital experience to match the physical experience. I think people are going to want to actually track their real estate sales in the same way that they're tracking their pizzas. I think people want to look at less homes physically, but more of the right homes, which means you're going to have to create experiences around that. And I think that if you can get a car to pull up anywhere in the world via Uber, then you're going to better be able to get a realtor to do it also.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. Okay, I'm just making sure cheaper change. Yep, easy communication. Yes, you told us to do that in April. Join 2 golf leagues and have grown my downline and my business with those relationships, and my handicap is going down. Great job, Kristen.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of, like once you get out of the box, like there's all sorts of things. Like, think of leaf bags in the fall. Like, it's so crazy how many times I'm going to go to Home Depot over this 4-week period to buy leaf bags. Like, that's something that you can provide. If you had leaf bags with your logo and your phone number on it and you delivered those, people don't put 1 by the curb. They put like 80 in a line. It's crazy. You'd literally own neighborhoods. And I don't know, like I look up, the super majority of the neighborhoods in this country are not being geographically farmed by somebody who has a plan. Like, there's so much territory. It's just ripe to be taken. And I feel like we're constantly walking over dollars to pick up pennies. And I look up right now, and there's never been a greater chance to take territory than there is today, because you've never been able to scale your abilities like you can today.
Yeah, I love the quote, in the middle of difficulties is where the opportunity lies. And I think that right now there are so many opportunities, and all of these are such great refreshers. And even the ideas, Teresa said, where can we get the leaf bags? Love that so much. Okay, we're 1 minute past. We appreciate your time so much. You guys give Jason some love in the chat. Thanks for all you do, Jason. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.